Good morning, everyone. Melissa Phillips here today with a Makeup Monday for you. And I think we'll call this Build-a-wreath. I love wreaths not only for this time of year but all year round. And this time of year I always feel like creating with them because I just think that they're so beautiful. So I've got a few samples done for you today just to show you kind of what we're aiming for, and then we'll start on a fresh one. So for this first card, I've used the rustic wreath die, and then I've just started embellishing it to create a full wreath that kind of celebrates what the card is all about. So I've used the autumn pumpkin in the middle and choose joy for my sentiment, and then you'll see these little sprigs building our wreath that are from the, let's see, it's the Year of Psalms July stamp set. And this next card uses the very same rustic wreath die. That's kind of the die I'm going to focus on today. And then I've used Beautiful Berries Spring, Fancy Flourishes, berries and leaves from the Gathered Garden stamp set. And I've used those to build our wreath and used autumn colors for it. My sentiment I bent to follow the curve of the wreath, and it is from the Keep It Simple Blessed die, stamp set. And then I've attached a bow here that was die cut using the Gift Card Cozy die. And something else I encourage you to think about is just mixing up the type of elements that you use and the mediums that you use. So I've used glittered cardstock in a couple different places here, corrugated cardstock once again, because I used those on my last newsletter tips and tricks, and I love it so much I just can't stop. And then of course pattern paper, just some fun things that bring in character and dimension. Glitter cardstock has a lot of depth to it because of all of the different shades that you get there. So that adds depth and dimension, as well as the corrugated. So for my next card today, I thought we would make a Halloween card. And all of these cards use the very same elements. I'm just switching up the colors and the stamp sets and things. So I am beginning with the Mega Matte Stack 4. I've used that here and here just to create a base or a focal point on which to kind of attach all of our little groupings here. And I've cut this from, let's see, this is Honey Nut cardstock. It's such a beautiful, rich color for this time of year. I've die cut my rustic wreath from some black pattern paper. It's a houndstooth. You can hardly even see the pattern, but it's there. And for our sentiment, I thought instead of stamping one, we would attach one, a die cut from the Tricky Trio die collection. Once again, it's from glittered cardstock, and I've layered it over a banner die just so that it pops a little bit and doesn't fade into the background. And now we'll just get stamping. I've got a few things collected here that I thought we could use as time goes on. I never know what I'm going to do. I kind of like a little anticipation and surprise here. So I've got a few things cut out. These are, let's see, the small sketched stars from that die collection. And the leaves are from the, let's see, Paper Clippings Thankful for You die collection. So let's get started. We'll start with stamping first, and then we can layer on all of the goodies. Okay, so I'm going to use my Misty stamping tool, but you don't need to at all. I'm going to layer my Mega Matte Stack for my rustic wreath for just 1 minute, just so that I can kind of get proper placement for my stamps. I am using the Paper Clippings Thankful for You stamp set, and I just kind of want these images to follow the curve of the wreath. And so I needed my wreath there just in order to know where to stamp my images. And I'm just going to do tone-on-tone stamping. So we will do honey nuts over honey nut cardstock, because I want my wreath to stand out and the stamps that I'm using to just kind of be subtle in the background. And I always like to get a clean, crisp image, so I'm going to do this. Ink it up a couple of different times. Okay, so my wreath is going to be centered, and see, you can see just a portion of that little wheat stalk there, which is just what I want. So I'm going to repeat it down here across the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to stamp the second step for these little wheat stalks. I love two-step stamping because that second step just brings them to life. So in the Paper Clippings Thankful for You stamp set, the wheat stalks have a beautiful detailed center image that just makes those wheat stalks come to life. So I'm using dark chocolate on those, and once again it doesn't overpower the card or anything at all. It just kind of adds to the feel of it. So that's going in a good direction. I like what I'm seeing so far, and I'll just repeat that up here on our top image. So we're just going to keep building our wreath and adding to it. It's important to go outside of the wreath as well as a little bit inside the wreath to make it look full. Since we're doing a Halloween card, I'm going to add a spider web that is from the Friendship Jar Fall Fillers stamp set, and a spider, and then I'm going to continue to fill in with the Paper Clippings Thankful for You stamp set. So let's see, I've got to get my wreath right where I want it, centered on the card, and then I can sneak my spider web in there right in between the leaves, and I love how that looks. It just adds so much. Kind of starts setting the stage for what our card is all about. So I've gone ahead and just started filling in my wreath a little bit, and I've just used more images from the Paper Clippings Thankful for You, stamping in cocoa bean and saffron spice. I added a spider from the Friendship Jar Fall Fillers and attached my wreath to my card base, and now I'm just going to attach my sentiment, and I think I'll just do that on a diagonal, slightly off center here, and I've used dimensional adhesive so that pops and doesn't get lost in the background. And then it's just time to start adding my die cuts and things, and so I'm just going to kind of play around with placement on those a little bit. And let's see, those are the small sketched stars once again, and leaves. This paper tray's got so many different die cuts that you could use, and I die cut a few little leaves from, let's see, pattern paper. Sorry, gosh, I have a hard time talking and working at the same time. Hard for me to multitask. Anyway, I'm going to fiddle around with that a little bit and get everything where it needs to go, and then we're about done. So that does it for us. I finished up my wreath by just adding some sequins. So think outside the box when it comes to little finishing touches, because they really do add a lot. So I've used black sequins on our Halloween wreath here, and on the Be Grateful card I used gems. that are just in a very similar subtle color to the wreath, so they don't detract from it but just kind of blend in, add a little sparkle. And then on my last card here, my bow kind of serves that purpose, and it's got a gemstone in the middle of it. So I can't wait to see what you create. I hope you'll take the challenge and build your own wreath, maybe for Christmas. Even birthday wreaths would be fun. There's so many different possibilities and lots of fun products to work with. So enjoy. Thanks for joining me.